All right, so tell us who you are.
My name is Don Macleay. I'm candidate for Oakland City Council in District 1, which is North Oakland.
And what are your priorities?
Well, my main priority is addressing the crisis in Oakland youth. And I see that crisis as being a four-part crisis of employment, education, housing, and more than anything else, being caught up in a vicious circle of crime and a criminal justice system that's kind of failed.
Why focus on youth?
Well, recently meaning the last 10 years, I've been a small business owner. I'm a computer geek. And for 19 years before that, I was a machinist. That's a steel worker that makes machine parts. Before that, I was a machinist apprentice. The machinist apprentice were the people, we had to take care of the shop. We were the ones that did the housekeeping. And you always started the housekeeping by doing the worst first. You always went to that section of the shop, and there was always a section of the shop that needed the most attention. And then you found that by working from there, you get a lot done by addressing the worst of it first. And that's my attitude, not just about, housekeeping or machine shops or running a computer networking company, but it's also my attitude towards life in general. I want to go to the worst first, and these four issues that address our Oakland youth, they are the hard nuts. That's the hardest thing we're going to touch. And I think that's what needs to be pulled to the center of the room and addressed first.
Now, with your focus on youth, why not the crime or the budget? How does that connect?
Well, it does connect. And yes, we're dealing with Oakland youth issues. We have to deal with our crime issues. And more than anything, we have to deal with people being caught up in a vicious circle of crime. We've worked on diversion programs, or should have worked on diversion programs. We have worked on community policing, or should have worked on community policing. And we are supposed to be doing something about our parolees who pay their debt to society and being released back into our community. When I think about working with the youth, that is one of the issues that I really focus on. Now, the criminality in Oakland really has four contributing factors, not causes, but contributing factors. And they are homelessness, substance abuse, parolee recidivism, people going straight back to jail, and the high school truancy rate. So we're still back talking about the core of our crisis is with our youth.
Nice. So you're a Green. How does that affect your candidacy, and why should people really vote Green?
Well, there's a couple of reasons. First and foremost, being a Green is because of my values. We in the Green Party espouse 10 core values, some of which really relate to local politics, such as our commitment to local control, our commitment to decentralized government, our commitment to grassroots economy. Also, being a Green is sort of like your guarantee of no fundraising. The Greens do not run their campaigns based on fundraising. We don't accept money from corporations. We don't build our political careers based on how many important people we know or how much money we raise. We build a movement. And also, we have a good track record. As a Green, I have as resources local elected officials here and in Richmond and in other places around the Bay Area who have, a hands-on track record making a positive contribution to local government. A lot of the ideas I espouse are not my own. A lot of them are not from our local Greens. They're simply the good ideas that come from the serious research of people dealing with these issues and have been implemented a lot in the Bay Area, very much so by Greens.
So we're at a conference on public safety. What are your views on public safety?
Well, there's a lot, and I have a handout on my website. But, let's just focus on what can we do now, what can we do medium term, what can we do long term. And I want to disabuse people of the idea that hiring more cops is something we can do now. People like to think, oh, that's what we can do now. It takes a long time to hire police officers. You have to set up an academy. You maybe get 40 at a time. It costs millions of dollars. And that is not going to get our police force up anytime quickly. The current academies planned will barely maintain the staffing level we have now. What we can do now is to implement those diversion programs. I really would like to see inside the Oakland Police an office, a triage office, where we decide whether or not we're going to refer somebody to the district attorney's office for prosecution. I think there's times that we need to not do that. I think we need to find other ways of dealing, especially with young people who we could get out of starting a lifetime of crime. We also need to do something about these parolees. Every piece of research says bring the parolees into the local community, give them a place. That means give them a job, give them a place to live. We are the local community. City government, that's our job. It also just makes common sense. You can't stay out of trouble if you're sitting out on the street. And then the third thing we can do, and we can do right now, is to implement the community policing we've been talking about. All community police officers do not have to be armed, badge-carrying, sworn officers. They could be civilians working for the police department. And community policing can be, and should be, very quickly a way that we can up our ability to enforce, monitor our neighborhoods, and actually let the community stand up and say, this is what we don't accept. Crime are things that we don't accept, and the community should be the leading voice in making that clear.
I just have one more question for you. How do we get more jobs in Oakland?
Well, I'll go back to what I say about good housekeeping. That's my attitude towards many things. And when I look at Oakland's economy, I see that the largest employer is my sector, the small business sector, followed quickly by people who work for the various levels of government, and then people who work for the medical areas. There's the automobiles, maintenance area, stuff like that. And my idea would be to maintain all those different areas of employment. Do everything we can to keep them up, to keep them healthy, to get the benefits paid to people more reliable, and grow jobs in those sectors. Those sectors do not shed their jobs at every downturn of an economy. And we could put in 2-4 years of just cultivating what we have, making the business environment for the established businesses a place where they can be successful. I think we can then start rolling on to new growing jobs in other sectors. But right now, our current sectors could be treated better and could grow.
All right, well, I know you have to go. Thank you very much. Again, this was Don Macleay, City Council candidate for District 1, Oakland Greens. Thank you very much.
Thank you.